in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, RFK Refugees podcast. Ted here, John here, talking DC United, U.S. men's national team, Washington Spirit, maybe a little Rapid Vienna. Maybe throw that in. Some Sporting Club Portugal, I think is what that jersey you have on.
I love Austrian soccer. I know a lot about it. I'll do very well talking about it. Sporting drew today in the 90th minute. They were previously impossible to score upon, and this is like the one game I have not bet on them in the course of maybe a month and a half. So it's my fault. It's my fault. They're still in first place.
You missed out, my friend. You just
I did. I did.
But John, how was your weekend, my friend? How was your? It
was good. We had Easter. It was Easter weekend, right? Yeah. I hung out with my mom. My child had very cute pictures taken holding eggs. We tried to do a Easter egg hunt, but it turns out if you cannot walk, it's not a very fun experience to do an Easter egg hunt. So we're going to hold off. She's going to have that next year, I guess. What did you do? What did you get into?
I hung out. I watched soccer. I spent some time with some vaccinated friends and tried to be as socially distanced as we could and away from other people. And have some fun times. And it goes along with the shoot. Am I going to have to fire up the VPN? Maybe you will have to. This podcast is not viewable in your area, even though you're watching it right now. It's strange beast. But yeah, I had a fun weekend. Soccer was on, and we're getting ready for the season to start. It is coming fast and furious, my friend. It
doesn't feel believable, does it?
I know we are 12 days away, my friend. 12 days away from opening day.
That's not very much. Yeah, that's not very many days.
Yep. That's we're coming in quick on it. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk.
First
let's talk.
Sorry,
about... John's like, hey, make sure we do this, and guess what? I didn't do it.
Listen, Ted's about that business. I guess I'm about that business. Ted's about doing the show and actually giving you the content you want. But we had another contest, which so many of you joined, and we thank you for joining at rfkrefugees.com/giveaway. That giveaway is now over. So the owner of a Bailiwick Unite the District shirt is Pat McGill. We're not going to give his email out of the show, but we have it. We'll contact him after the show. Thanks for joining the giveaway, and thanks for winning. We're going to make sure you guys go to, if you're not Pat McGill and you want one of those shirts, you know what they look like. I've worn them on the show a number of times. Go to Bailiwick Clothing on their website. I assume it's bailiwickclothing.com. And there are plenty of shirts still available. They're going to be working with the team, I believe, in the next week or two to either promote that shirt some more. Or there might be a sale. I don't know. But check them out. They're a friend of the show. So, Pat McGill, congrats.
His social security number is...
That's right. 111 / Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to give all that away. But congratulations to Pat McGill for winning the shirt. And thanks to everybody who entered. And we will be trying to do more of that. It's come fast and furious. I don't know if we will be able to do it like every week or so, but we're gonna try to do the best we can.
And one thing that's not a giveaway, the pre-order on this should be live sometime this week if you're listening now, or if you're listening tomorrow morning. We will have, for the first time, RFK Refugees podcast scarves. Get excited, folks. I think if you've ever said, I love this podcast, how can I show visually how much I like a podcast? And the answer before has never been a scarf, but it is now. So we will have that link up on rfkrefugees.com. On the right side, you can pre-order a scarf and get it ready to go. We imagine they'll be available in May, before, hopefully, while it's still sometimes chilly, so you can wear it. And if you don't want to wear it, you can carry it around, or worst case, you can be like Ted and have it pinned up on your wall, like every soccer podcaster except for me. I feel like I'm degenerate and don't have my scarf wall. But rfkrefugees.com this week, you can pre-order our new scarf.
Yep, absolutely. Our new scarf will be coming in on its way. So we're giving y'all the content. We are giving the people what they want. And what they want is scarves and shirts, apparently, in the summer, for a team we watch in the summer. Always be funny.
It's a good idea. We're also going to do knit hats for the summer. We're going to do all winter gear for July. So it's like a every month release. So it's like a fashion one. So stay tuned.
Yep. And speaking of things you would want to have, but unfortunately couldn't this week, at least for most people who did not possess either a VPN or some other facilities. DC United played a preseason game, a 2-1. In theory,
they did.
In theory. I mean, you guys missed we won't say how we were able to watch the game, but you guys missed a a cracker of a game. I think there was a hat trick. I think Ben Olsen like showed up on the field and like ran
Like Sting.
out and
Like Sting from the rafters with a bat. They were playing New York City FC in Philadelphia. Is that correct? On the Philadelphia practice fields?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I believe is true. That's cool. That's esoteric. It fits for a game that none of us can watch, as two teams playing at a third neutral site randomly. I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting. You got to see some of it, so tell me any sort of impressions you got from that game.
Yes, and I apologize. I just had to quickly readjust the video. I apologize for that, everybody. I thought I had it all nicely lined up, and I realized
they're motion
that
sick now. Everyone's now thrown
you can
up.
see like part of my room edging into John's thing, and now it looks all nice. I apologize. But yeah, let's talk. We don't have producer Brian, by the way, so that's maybe why the show might be a little rougher without the producer boy.
This is old school janky version.
This is old school.
This is what the show used to be like every week.
Speaking of the game, I think what I most took away, I guess, from watching that game is DC United, attack-wise, look like it's very clear that this is what they've been working on. They are going to play. It's almost like Hernan showed up to practice and he's like, okay, I don't care how many goals we give up. I don't care how many, we're going to play this pressing style. We're going to play very direct. We're going to be quick in transition. And it was fairly effective, I think, for about, for a stretch of games. I thought Assad looked good. Flores looked good. A lot of players looked like they had sort of a new life and a better sense of what they wanted to do. Defensively, things were a little rough. The pressing, the nature of their pressing led to a corner kick, and then there was the camera was kind of panning, so it was a little hard to see, but like you saw New York get the ball and you saw a player streaking down the field and you're like, oh, well, there's got to be one DC player, but oh no, there's nobody back there. Oh, look, there's Mora and Flores tracking back very late, and it became basically a 3-on-0 for the first goal, for the first New York goal. So that's not good. I know Hernan wants to play super attacking soccer, but maybe he doesn't want a 3-on-0 in front of the goal. But I mean, overall, like, as Angus points out, the Assad Smith Flores combo, Kamari Smith got the start over Ola Kamara. I guess that was kind of the one interesting little wrinkle out of that. John, I am on the Smith band. He got a goal. It was a really nice goal. Long pass
of the preseason.
A long pass from Assad, and a nice little play from Flores at sort of the end line, and a nice little touch. Someone I think credited, it was a pretty lucky goal, maybe, but he put himself in the right spots. So I think it's interesting that Flores that Smith is getting some starts over Kamara, because we all assumed Kamara would be. And I don't know, maybe Kamara is taking an injury. Could be right. A lot of things, but I think it's interesting that he's getting the start. It leads me to believe that maybe Hernan has seen something in preseason. I don't know. I am a little more bullish. I'm not going to say 100% bullish, but I am somewhat more bullish on the idea of him.
Ted is hedging against his, I believe, double-digit goal projection for Ola Kamara when he came here. So this is called emotional hedging, folks. It's an open question, right? Like, There aren't a lot of goals. It's been 3 games against. They played Greenville. They played Loudoun, where they've scored 1 million goals. That didn't really count. Then they played Philly and they played New York City FC. They've scored 2 goals against league competition, right? They got shut out. They got shut out against Philly, right? No
Correct.
Consolation goal.
Correct.
Yeah. So Camarni has scored all of the goals not against Loudoun United. So it's tough to say, right? Like, I think if you ask the team, and maybe we'll get an opportunity to ask Hernan this week about what his thoughts are about Camarni as far as where he sees him playing out. But coaches originally were like, he's a winger. We don't really see him as a 9. But he's showing some adaptability. He's showing his willingness to make runs into the box and be there for the ball. The thing that makes us most insane is when a player doesn't make a run and the ball is just like sitting there. Easy goal opportunities if you run. Angus did point out that Ola played the entire second half, so it's not an injury from that perspective. I don't necessarily think that he is, lineup choices in the preseason are not too. You can't draw too many conclusions from them. There's lots of things they could be trying to do, but I think I would have to say that he is already showing to be more involved in the plans than I would have assumed he would have been, and we'll see sort of where that pans out here in the coming. Do they have any more? They have one more preseason.
One more preseason game, I believe Sunday or Saturday against New York. I'll have to check that. I'm not sure the exact date. I can pull up the website real quick. But I think it is interesting to see him get the start. This was pretty much a full strength lineup. This is a lineup where if you rolled this out 2 weeks from now, I would say, yep, that's probably your lineup. The one sort of flare up, I guess, in the preseason game was a red card. We were talking on when I was watching the game. We couldn't really tell, I guess, where or what happened sort of in the incident. Apparently for Moreno was a second yellow, and then there was sort of reaction from whoever the New York City FC player was, and then the referee then showed the straight red to him, and the team was like, well, we want to play with 11, so we're going to go ahead and throw out another player. So they played 11v11. For that second half, but it was sort of a weird sort of flare. Moses Neiman, I think, came in for Junior Moreno in that game. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, April 10th is the next preseason game against Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena.
Yep, and hopefully maybe we'll have a stream. English on saying Castellanos, who I don't know. He got the straight red. So again, a little hard to tell in some of these streams. Those streams are jankier than what we're on. But interesting enough, they did play sort of a 3-4-3. We'll be curious to see. We've talked, at least, a lot about what DC is going to play, what they're going to go out as, whether they can fit this system. And I think all evidence seems to point to a 3-man back line. I don't see any reason. That probably means DeShields is probably going to play a more important role, and they maybe are just. I thought maybe they would be a little bit more conservative with that. They play a 4-2-3-1, and maybe then evolve as sort of Birnbaum gets healthy, Areola gets out. But Hernan seems to be like, nope, I think this is the system. Did Nahar get him? I don't know if Nahar got it. I didn't see him out there. I feel like I would have noticed him out there.
If you look at the minutes tracker, I believe that the Filibuster boys use, I believe that he did not. He's been getting held out since the second preseason game. That could be an injury. It could be something else. The team is obviously doesn't get into sort of those discussions. Although Hernan hasn't had media availability until this week, so maybe that gets sorted out a little bit this week.
Yeah, so I'm certainly be curious to ask him. I don't know. He probably can say, we want to know about Trialist 1. What do you think about him?
Yeah, tell us in very detail what makes him number 1. Why is he not number 7? Tell us that. There are new players rotating in and out, and there are a lot of Loudon players that are making up the numbers.
Yeah.
In these games. So for whatever that's worth, Loudon continues to be in preseason right now. I think they just signed 2 more players, including another goalie. I think they have 7. I think now is their plan. They're just going to rotate in, maybe use 2 of them at once. I don't know. But yeah, so that's I think they're just sort of trying to make sure that they've got the players that they need. Loudon, of course, training all the way out in Loudon, and DC is training at Audi Field, so they don't have the ability to sort of have the normal way that they like to do it, where they're having practices in the same area.
Correct.
But anyway, that's preseason wrapped pretty much. We got one more game.
Hopefully, we'll have an ability to watch it.
And if not, just no injuries. That's the most important thing in this next game. That's the only thing that matters. The score doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. Please do not get hurt before the game. That actually counts in 2 weeks.
And speaking of injuries, we have an update. Apparently, Bill Hamid was we were not thinking he was going to be ready by the beginning of the month, and then apparently he was pretty close. And then a couple days later, he picked up an injury. So he's out 4 to 6 weeks with a calf injury, and that stinks because it would have been nice to have Bill Hamid, even though I'm sure Chris Seitz is enjoying the fact that he will be the starter, at least for the conceivable future. There were some rumors that they were looking at another goalkeeper. Golf has squashed said rumors. Who knows who's right, I guess, is the main thing to take away from that. Maybe we'll find something else. It seems a little... I understand, the idea of signing a keeper when you have your main one go down and he's out for a longer period of time. But 4 to 6 weeks is not. It seemed to me you want to tie up a roster spot and the salary to sign another keeper for like a short term. Does the MLS pool keeper still exist? Is that still a thing?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that they do. I'm looking quickly in Bill's injury history. I thought that he had a calf injury before. Nothing says that, but he's had a lot of injuries. Shoulder injury, ankle, hamstring, finger surgery, knee injury, groin surgery. He's relatively healthy from 2016 till this year, but those muscle injuries happen a lot when you're coming back from major surgery, because all of your muscles aren't sort of all the way back. Some of them have atrophied over time as you sort of try to get really close back into the swing of being a professional athlete. That can happen. But like you said, I think from a perspective of where we could manage an injury right now, Bill is better than Chris. I think on the whole, I think that's probably inarguable. But the drop off is not human. That will not lose us games. Whereas there are other places in the field. If I don't want to put the jinx out into the universe, but say we had another center back go down, that would be probably more catastrophic to the team's prospects than having Chris Seitz play. So Chris Seitz is he's a good for a couple game run every season. Somebody gets hurt and he goes in there and does well. So hopefully that continues.
Yep. And by the way, the MLS pool keepers do exist. I just Googled MLS pool keeper and pulled up an article from 2020 where they talked about the MLS pool keepers that were with the MLS's back tournament. So DC's going into this season a little injured, so it's going to be curious to see how quickly they can sort of get healthy. But I think DC maybe holds off on the pool keeper until they absolutely need to. So probably if Chris Seitz were to go down, then you might see them pull someone up, and maybe
and you mentioned it before the show too. Like, I would say rather than a pool keeper, it makes sense. Even if you're just having a guy hold some gloves on the sideline, like a Loudon goalkeeper can do that.
Yeah,
I feel like it seems crazy to have to go that other route, but stranger things have happened. I have seen games in which 3 goalies have played. I have seen games in which the emergency keeper has played. For DC United, it's happened. Anything can happen. Field players playing goalie, anything can happen. So I don't think it is a bummer that he was close and fell out. But
who knows? Maybe you find a Tim Melia in that.
Yeah,
he was an MLS. He was an MLS pool keeper. Tim Melia was an MLS pool keeper and then made it to Sporting Kansas City.
Who was the field player last year that came in to save a penalty? What team was that? last year? Was it Orlando?
It was Orlando, and I can't remember who it was. I'm sure someone in the chat will pop in.
Right. I mean, I think he was a depth. I think he was not like a star player for them anyway. But anything can happen. I think the only thing that's confusing, or not confusing, maybe a blessing in disguise, is that I already thought he was going to miss the first month of the season. Mm-hmm. So when the news came out together at the same time, he's almost back, and he is not. He's actually out longer now. I thought that was. So soften the blow. Yeah. Schlegel from Orlando is the guy that I'm thinking of. An absolutely epic MLS moment. It's like when a pitcher, like a fat pitcher, hits a home run. Any of those things, those like weird things. A field player coming in to save a penalty it's what you want. We want those moments.
We want those moments, and we want DC to have those moments, like the snow game in 2012. Which check out. We got clips up of our interview with Pablo Maurer. Definitely check that out from last week. Probably the biggest. Oh wait, hold on. We got one more DC United note, and this is probably going to garner some discussion. Washington Spirit have moved their opening games to Audi Field. No reason was given, so to speak, officially, but Golf states it's because there's no showers or out on actual locker rooms. I contend that I think Loudoun United, probably that means they're getting waivers from U.S. Soccer to host their games there. I'm sure that has to be some sort of D2 standard, even D3 standard, I would say. You have to have locker rooms. I mean, even the Richmond Kickers, despite City Stadium's many flaws, has locker rooms. I have some thoughts on this. I'll let you go first. On a level of embarrassment, where does this rank? I mean, because it's embarrassing. It is. It has to be.
I mean, it's below having the team provide their own security overnight. So
that's fair.
That's higher. This is lower than that. The thing that confuses me is that we talked to Ryan Martin about this a month ago. Mm-hmm. I think it was about a month ago when he was on the show, about the fact that they didn't have sprinklers for the field. So in the summer, the field would dry out and it would be like 1,000 degrees on the field, and the ball didn't roll well. So, but he was like, well, that's coming. So I think that should be here soon. I think he said before the start of the season, which, if I'm still correct, is May. I think it's May.
Yeah.
So that could still, that could have been the timeline all along. I don't necessarily know what the exact situation is for the locker rooms. I thought they had locker rooms under the far end stand, but I did know they didn't have running water for the field, and they didn't have running water for attendees using the toilets. So I would assume that there was not magical running water for the players either. I don't know what they did for showers. I don't know if there's a hose, if they had moist towelettes. I don't know what their plan was, but clearly, I think this is one of those good situations where I wish there would be more open communication about things. Sort of like if you set the expectations ahead of time, if you say we had delays due to COVID, and then we had delays due to whatever, we anticipate the time where we'll be done is Y. And then when you don't hit Y, you can say why that is. I think that's the way to go. I think there are only a few people that will really care about this, but when these things sort of stack up one after another, it paints a picture that I don't think the team doesn't want it for sure. And the people who pay super close attention are like, guys, just tell us when this is going to be done, so it doesn't have to change a week. The first Challenge Cup game is next week, right?
Yeah.
Next Thursday. That's too late. Like, why is this? It should have been decided earlier. Is what I guess where I'm at on it.
I think what this underscores is this team is sort of, this is becoming a pattern. It's becoming a pattern of promising certain things but not really finishing or fully following through. They promise this brand new amazing stadium. Roof's still not finished. You promise, we're going to have a training facility. Yes, COVID plays a role. But you look at sort of...
That's going vertical now, by the way.
That is happening.
That's good stuff.
That is good stuff. I mean, but it's this speaks to, you built another stadium that you didn't finish. And you can't even... I don't think you can really use COVID as an excuse, because this was completed in 2019. This was before the pandemic. This should have been Segra. I believe it was.
It was. No, I think just the question is like what, because we don't know, because they don't talk. Like what was the technical reason on site why they couldn't do that? I do know, to get Segra open for 2018, I believe was the first year. I think, right? I
believe so. I thought it was 2019 but you might be right.
The first season where fans were allowed, they finished everything like a week before the first game for the first home game. So I have no doubt that there are issues. Like if I imagine with sprinklers on turf fields, I imagine it's a challenge to, after the field is already built and laid down, I imagine it's probably hard to get sprinklers down underneath of it.
It opened August 9th, 2019. It broke ground on March 26th and opened. But that just, to me, that underscores, okay, that you don't even have the excuse of this being in DC. This is out in Loudoun County. It's you don't have that excuse. It seems to me, so they rushed to get this stadium together. Why? Yep. What would have been the harm in saying, you know what, Segra Field's just not ready. Let's, we want to start this team in Loudoun. We want to put it in Loudoun. Let's take August, September. Let's make sure that the amenities, everything is there for Segra Field to have a good opening. It seems like it's similar to the stadium, where they wanted it open in July. They wanted to do it in July. They didn't want to do, maybe another year at RFK, or they didn't want to really make sure they built, the best stadium possible. They just wanted to get it up, get it going, so they could start, selling tickets or getting some revenue out of it. It seems a lack of actually making sure you finish the job and do the things right so that it can be successful. It just seems like another shortcut this team took. So
I think it's for me, it's just order of operations. I think it is a challenge. Like if they decided to push Segra for a year, where do they put Loud United? Do they play Audi Field? How much money does that cost? Okay. All right. So say you didn't build Segra and instead put the stadium roof in, and that cost, according to, estimates, double digit 10 million or more dollars to do. I don't know how much Segra cost to build, but it was less than the roof. So as far as if you wanted to build the roof, maybe you don't get Segra. Maybe you don't have a place for your Division II team to play. And if you do have it, maybe it's another year down the line. I from a devil's advocate perspective, I sympathize with having 3 large-scale capital projects at once to manage, and you don't have the ability to do any of them perfectly. You're doing, I would say, Audi Field's an 85% job, maybe even 90%, because the roof is substantial, but the stadium still functions, the sight lines are still good, et cetera, et cetera. It would be better had they finished it that way, without a doubt. But that's mostly done. Segra, if this is true, if there's no running water, if there's no locker rooms, if there's no sprinkler systems, Segra's at about a 50%. And now we're at 5% for the the training facility being built right next door. So I think they looked at, from, if I'm doing it, what is the thing that makes me the most money and what is the thing that costs me the most money? Audi Field makes me the most money, so I've got to get closest to done there. Loudoun United is not making them a lot of money. The gate is not good there. They had good attendance for the opener, maybe the second or third game. Most of the games are sparsely attended. So that's almost a loss leader. You're just spending money to lose money.
You're spending money with the idea that you're able to develop players and then sell them, and then that covers your cost. Is the
long term? That's a long-term investment in the future, absolutely. And for a team, that's not been this team's MO. And I think they want to change that. That's what they're trying to give all of these academy and youth players opportunities to break into the first team and do well. So they want to change that. But that's a change. That's a long-term view that the team hasn't shown. So I think that's if I were the one allocating money and time, that's how I would have done it. Would I want a roof? Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's worth the $10 million in the offseason. I'm a fan of getting rid of excuses. I'm a fan of crossing things off lists. Fans have an easy thing to point at with Audi Field that the team is not taking it seriously. They first pointed at the roof. That's still going on. They then pointed to a lack of the team's history, big white walls. They've addressed that. That was cheaper, but they've done that. So they are hearing the criticisms. So just do this roof. Let Roche think about other things. Let the people in the most expensive seats not be worried that they're going to get rained on. Just knock it out so that we don't ever have to talk about it again.
Yeah.
We can still say the Cincinnati Stadium is nicer and we wish we had it, but we'll now at least say all right, well, whatever this is now done. This is the full version of Audi Field. You can love it, you can hate it, but then you can't say that they didn't finish it. It is done. So please do this, please.
And I think this news was also compounded with the no stream, the blackouts, which again I think personally I'm willing to give them more slack, I guess, on the stream, from a perspective of, yes, it'd be nice to do that for the fans. I feel upset anyway because MLS's policy is stupid as far as blacking it out. If there's a team willing to stream the game, at the very least, let both teams be able to watch it. What are you doing? That makes
it's inarguable. It is. There's no good argument at all.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into it again. We got into it last week. I don't want to rehash it. But
listen, the 50 people that want to watch the stream are very mad, Ted. We have to address this angry group.
It's stupid.
Pablo pointed that out. I thought that was fair. He was basically like, in his mailbag and The Athletic, he's like, listen, there's hundreds, maybe 300 people who really want to watch this game. They really, 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 really want to watch it. But everybody else, take it or leave it. And I get that.
And if the cost helps hire more people for the social media team so we get the content that we're getting right now from preseason, which has been excellent, by the way.
So good.
Then, hey, that's cool. I'm actually for it. Would I like maybe a little more communication? I just want MLS. I understand the limitations and the cost and everything involved with that. I think MLS needs to step in and say, we're not doing blackouts. And I really want to investigate. I feel like I want someone to tell me why this is in place, or what is there some long-term thinking going on here that they're trying to implement? Did some lawyer write out a contract that said local streams for all games have to be, and then now it's like, and then it was interpreted that, I don't know. That is just the silliest thing I've ever heard.
We have a show. We are quasi-journalists. I commit to you that we're going to try to find out an answer to that question. We're going to spend some time because I'm curious, right? Let's find we know people. We can ask people.
I mean, so there's an MLS media. I'm sure there's an MLS media line I can email, at least drop a line and
stay tuned, folks. We're gonna the crack RFK refugees investigative journalist team is on the case, and we're gonna figure this out.
We're gonna figure this out, and then but of course in a couple weeks it doesn't matter because the season starts.
The case is never cold. We will figure this. If it's July, we're gonna be emailing Don Garber in the middle of the night saying, Don, why have you blacked out the preseason games?
He probably doesn't. I mean, it has to be some lawyer. It has to be just some lawyer drew something up. All right, let's talk to some other news. MLS rule changes. I know.
Yeah, this is good.
This is good though. This is good. First things first, MLS is keeping the 5. I think the thing we'll see probably the most is the 5 substitute rule 3. I am happy that they are keeping that. I think soccer as a whole is very, very rigid when it comes to rules like this. It took them a while to even implement 3 substitutes. I think for a while there the game was played where literally you had no substitutes. If a player was injured, you took it off. It was 11v10. You just had to deal with it. And they are very rigid to change. They implemented this rule for COVID. A lot of other leagues have taken it away. I think pretty much Europe is not doing it. No other league is doing it. I think expanding the amount of substitutes is a good thing. If you are going to throw players to the wood chipper with more games, you should have the ability for coaches to make subs, bring other players on, give other players chances. I think if MLS wants to be a development league, this makes even more sense. Hey, let's keep doing it. That gives Griffin Yao, that gives Moses Neiman, that gives all those players a chance. Stay tuned. We'll talk about them later. The biggest thing.
Do you like pressing? I like pressing. You know what would make pressing a lot easier? 2 more substitutes.
Well, you watch some of like these European games, and you watch the December. Everybody talks about how bad December is and how much players are tired and just exhausted. You know what would make it easier? If coaches had more flexibility on when they could sub them. Yep. And if they could bring other players on, it would force teams to expand their roster, expand who they want to play. Rich says, I don't think unlimited is the right solution, but I think 5 is
college style.
I think 5. I think 5 is good. I think the 3 periods. I was a little bit like, why not just make it 5? Like, what's the big deal? I'm actually okay with the 3. The 3 instances. You 3 instances the sub. You can sub on a maximum of 5. I'm fine with that. I think it keeps the game moving. It doesn't.
And I think it changes. It also, if you're gonna, it's the thing that keeps the game most intact. Like having those 3 windows. That's pretty good. I think that way, like you're not able to change the game 5 times. You're able to change the game 3 times, just like before.
I really thought they were going to start to make that a permanent. We'll see. Maybe this forces them to make a permanent change. We have Europe, I think, expanding the Champions League and the number of games people are going to play. Now, of course, MLS is adding I think the 5 substitutes now comes with 2 concussion-based substitutes.
This is very, very good news.
Very, very good news. Good change. They are piloting that program. This is something that Taylor Twellman has pushed a lot. Of course, he dealt with concussions. If you're a DC fan, there have been numerous players. Brian Namath, for one. Aleko Eskandarian, friend of the show. Well, acquaintance of the show. He's only been on once. You need to be on twice to be a friend of the show.
That's right. Come on,
Aleko. That's the RFK refugee standards. Acquaintance of the show, Aleko Eskandarian. Also suffered from concussions. It's a serious issue in soccer, and U.S. soccer has done a lot with the younger kids in changing it, and this is, I think, a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is it takes away the excuse that teams had to not make a player who was obviously in a bad way, clearly had lost consciousness. It takes away an excuse. So if you're still keeping players in at that point, it's really just wanton disregard for the player's safety and not about the game and not about anything else. Like it's now, and also if you use both of them, if you use both substitutions, you get another one. Like if you have an injury, a concussion substitution before you've used your 5, or is it 5? You get another one. You get 6. Mm-hmm. So they don't. It's not from that 5. It's adding one on. So it's I think it's good for the players, and it also gives the doctor a little bit more authority to be like, nope, this guy's coming off. I don't care what he says. He's got stars circling his head. We're taking him out.
Yeah, and you get additional substitutes as well. Additional substitutes are received. So if the team uses a concussion substitute, the opposing team then gets an initial substitute. Obviously, that makes sense for fairness. So, I mean, I like that part. I'd say that's a good part. That's the part actually I missed when I initially read this. But these are all good things. These are all things that the league should do, and I'm glad the league is a part of piloting it. So
you'd like them to bring back the shootout. So this is them taking one more step towards quirky rules and only American.
I always have to preface my love of the shootout. I'm fine with regular season games ending in a draw, but please, like for deciding playoff games, they should bring back the shootout. They should pilot that. Do that a pilot program. I'll say that to Don Garber as well. DC players, they're doing our player of the week, which we missed last week, and I was very upset about that. I guess Paulo Mauer's more important than that. Fine, whatever. But we're to make up for that, we're now doing our players of the weeks, and we're gonna talk about. I believe we've already done a segment on Donovan Pines. Well, we're gonna cover. We're gonna group in. We got a couple days of the season, so we're gonna go ahead and group in Griffin Yao, Moses Neiman, and Kevin Paredes. By the way, did you just see that Matt Doyle highlighted Donovan Pines as most important player for 2021? I thought that was interesting.
I believe that. You mean for DC United?
For DC United, yeah.
I think about with Steve Birnbaum being out for a couple months, I think that is undeniably true.
Yep. If he makes a step up, this team, offensively they should be fine. Defensively, are where the question marks are going to be, especially with Losada's system. But let's talk about the young guns. Let's start with Griffin Yao. I think he was the highlight, I guess, of 2019. Sort of his idea that he was sort of going to be the major player. He did step up. He had more games played, more appearances. All these players did from last year, I guess. They had more appearances maybe than they anticipated. 2 goals, including one very, very nice goal against Toronto, I think, to tie up the game last year. So that was sort of in the maybe this is the moment the team gets it together, sort of a comeback. Overall, I guess with Griffin Yao, there was definitely 2019. I think he kind of burst onto the scene. He was playing really well with Loudon, and then he kind of faded off. I think there was a big fade off period. I think I think all young players have this moment. They have a moment where they go. Bill Hamid had it, where it's like, I can't do the same things I've been doing. If I do this, I'm out. I'm a short contract and then I'm done.
We had Griffin on the show, and he attributed that first season to like just physical exhaustion. Like he was not prepared as a young player for the MLS grind. He didn't anticipate he was going to get that many games, and then he dedicated an offseason to being ready because he knew what to expect, and then he didn't get a lot of playing time. So that's the way that goes sometimes. But I think you're right. It was, wow, I really needed to do a lot more things with my body and not just assume that my youthfulness and my athletic ability will put me through. So
yeah,
I think he's committed to that now, and I think that now he's ready to break through that next level. Physical will not be the limitation.
Yep, and I think hopefully he's going to have a coach who's going to willing to give him those opportunities. I think that's what we're going to talk about with a lot of these guys. There was plenty of tape this year, I think, that Losada could look at, and I think they are going to get appearances. This is I pray that the days of Ben Olsen, as much as we love him, I pray the days of the one sub being used are over at DC.
Certainly not with the 5 that they now are offered. We'll at least get 2.
Yeah,
I think you double with the. But also the bench is getting better, man. I feel like you're not gonna. There will not be MLS castoffs to choose from the bench. You'll have these young players that you can throw on to change the game, assuming they don't start.
It very much assume so. And we also got Jacob Green. Yeah, we don't have much tape on him to talk about. But
no, 0 tape. He's not played. He's played no minutes in preseason. Chris Adoy-Ostrom, no minutes in preseason.
So we're gonna kind of go up the scale of potential of sort of everybody talks about. So we're gonna start. Sorry, Griffin, but we love you. You're an acquaintance of the show, but we're going to go up based on, I guess, hype and potential. And next up is Kevin Paredes, who got a lot more appearances. I did not get myself ready in time. I don't know if you have his 2020 stats up, but he got some more appearances for sure. He had 17 appearances, 9 starts, and he has 1 goal, I think, or assist. I think it was an assist.
He's got 1 goal. According to Transfer Market, he's got 1 goal. No, that's an assist. He's got 1 assist.
1 assist, yep.
Sorry, folks.
1 assist and a very nice assist. I think that was his highlight. His 1 assist of the year was a highlight assist, a game-winning assist. on the goal against Atlanta. So in that game, so that was kind of the game that got the team back, where maybe they can make the playoffs. I think he started out again. I think he's another player who started out very hot, sort of faded a little bit, and then sort of picked it up as the year sort of went down to the stretch. I think for him it's going to be a big thing, sort of like with Griffin. You get those couple of years, and then you have to either turn it up to another level, or you have to get yourself prepared. The question I think is going to be, will he be able to play sort of out left as a wingback? Will he fit better in Losada's system? And I think for all these players, the question is going to be, we hope this team is healthier this year. We hope Areola stays healthy. We hope that Gressel stays healthy. We hope that all these players stay healthy. These are going to inevitably push them sort of down the pecking order a little bit. I don't think you're going to see them get the appearances or the number of starts or the number of chances that they had last season. So they are going to need to make the most of whatever opportunity they get. If it's 10 minutes as a sub, if it's 20 minutes, and I think how they perform in training and how they do is going to indicate that. So
I hope if they're not getting minutes, they're getting sharpness at Loudon. I don't know that they will. They may have graduated past the two-way players, although I'd prefer they play. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care who they play for. I would like them to play, particularly if they are able to. And I believe now at this point, there's been no news about it, but I feel like I think that they're going to have ability to send players back and forth. I think that they will. I don't know. I've got no data about that, and I imagine the final regulations on that will come pretty soon. But I want them to play. Eric Sorga gets brought up a lot as a player who would benefit from that. Training with DC in the week, going to play Loudon on the weekends. But, also, Loudon is playing like a million weekday games too. So you could be. These are young guys. They could be on the bench. They could make appearances for both. It's not impossible. 2 games in a week is not unheard of.
Nope.
Anyway, Paredes, like you said, he will not get as many appearances as he did last year, likely with all of the wingers that are here and healthy, hopefully healthy, knock on wood. But I think that the question is, can all of these players make a step? Can Griffin Yao put himself back in the conversation? Mm-hmm. Can Kevin Paredes figure out? I think he's got a lot of skills on the ball. I think he is fast. I think his defensive skills improve throughout the year as a potential left wing back option for the team. But what is his final product look like? Can he make the right decision in the attacking 18? He did not last year. That was his problem from my vantage point. Can he turn that around? I think he can. I think that of the players, we've got one more to discuss, but I feel like there's a good opportunity that he turns into a real My ceiling for him is maybe good MLS player. Yeah, I don't see him going somewhere else. We have got one more player to talk to that might go on, but he needs to improve in the box and get more precise in that part of the game, and then I think that he can really excel in MLS.
Yeah, and I think with those two, both Griffin Yao and Kevin Paredes, you don't see enough where you can say, unlike the next player we're going to talk about, you don't see enough where you can say they could. I don't want to say that they won't be able to go to Europe or that the team won't sell them at some point, but we need to see them pick it up a level. They need to become good MLS contributors before we can really start to say that. The next player on the list is Moses Neiman, who has probably the highest ceiling of the players that we've talked about so far. He is. I think he was listed. Was it 442s or some British magazine was listed as like the top 50 or top 100 young players. So I mean, this is a guy that is already sort of on the radar. I will say I remember he made an appearance, and Charlie Bowen would talk about him and has talked about him a lot. I saw him in that first game, and I'm like, I mean, he looks like a kid. I don't know. I'm not buying it. He was a kid who second, third, fourth game, suddenly you could see it. You could see him get more comfortable. He picked it up very quickly. He started to look like he belonged out there. And that's something that's incredible for a kid, I guess his age. I think he's still 16, I think, or 17, or he's
17 this year, I believe.
Yeah, so he's still a really young player. But to see him sort of step up like that, make that sort of next step at that age, and you could see him get better. And every game he was out there, he was getting better and better every game. And he was, playing that holding midfield role. He was making passes, making connections. He's a player, in theory, it should be Russell Canals and Junior Moreno sort of holding that center midfield position.
Yep.
But we could see Moses Neiman very easily break through. And I could see either one of those players getting pushed. And you of course also have Felipe Martins as well. I think that's going to be the real challenge. I think that is going to be a tough position for him to break through. I think as a substitute, that's going to be hard too, because I don't know how much he really gets as an opportunity. You sub a defender, you're chasing the game, you're going to sub attackers. You're going to usually hold on to your center holding midfielders. So I think it's a little bit of a tough position. He's still young.
I was talking to somebody recently that follows him specifically, not necessarily the team, but they said that center back's actually a position that they've looked at him before, which is at 5'5", 126 pounds in MLS. That might be a bit of a challenge, particularly on. They'll have to really get creative with marking assignments on corners.
I mean, in a 3-man back line, you never know. I always thought that's where Durkin was going to end up. I was like, he has such a great ability to pass out of the back. Man, if
you mean not right wing back, wherever he's playing in St. Truden?
He's not. He shifts in center. It's. I don't know what position St. Truden play, and I haven't really watched the game in a while, but.
Ryan Johnson points out that with Felipe out and Moreno out with Copa America, we'll see more of Neiman. I think
that's true. That's very true. I didn't think about that. That is certainly another thing. So I think he's going to get his chance. And I think, Moreno has looked really good for Venezuela. He's had his flashes, but he hasn't been able to be consistent. I could see, if there's one player I could see potentially Neiman pushing out, it would be Junior Moreno. And I don't know if we'll see it this year. He's still young, but who knows? I think that he's going to be an interesting player to watch when he comes out on the field. Certainly. So I think it's going to do it. That's the previews for the game. We got the game coming up against Red Bull. What are you looking, if we're able to see it? What are you looking to see, I guess, out of the game coming up?
I'd like to see our presumed starters play and score goals. I would like to see Ola Kamara score a goal.
Yep.
I would like to see Julian Gressel impact the game. Edison Flores, according to other people who have watched, had a good first half. I would like to see that again, and I would like to see a win. I don't really care so much about that, but no injuries, and then like the usual suspects performing adequately. That's what I would like to see.
I would like to see a continuing of what I saw, just attack wise, getting possession, putting the ball together. If we give up a couple, garbage type goals, okay, but let's, this is, for me this year, it's all about just give me the excitement back, give me the fun. That's what I want right now. We'll focus on the rest of the season as we go. I think this is going to be. I'm hopeful we'll see more of this game. I'm hopeful we'll see, a little bit more from the players that are out there. Hopefully, I think the red card kind of like the first half, everything was going kind of like maybe great second half, and then the red card happened. It was kind of like, oh well, I guess this is whatever. And then they kind of made subs, and then by then, so I don't know if we really got a full sense, and I'm not sure if the red card carries over for a preseason game.
I doubt it. I wish they could get together on the sidelines and be like, let's just not. Let's put the 11 players back on.
I do think at this point, as you're the coach, it was a confrontation. It was an incident. I think the referee made the call to say, okay, Moreno, I'm giving you your second yellow. I'm giving you your straight red. This is preseason, guys. You're done for the day today. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm just saying, is there any provision in a exhibition game, which is what this basically is, to just, I guess there's not, to just get them off the field but allow for a 11-11?
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened in the game.
Okay.
That's basically what happened. Is basically the coaches were like, well, we want to play 11v11. So
sorry, Ted. I would have known were this game visible to anybody except for Hackermans.
Yeah, and I
apologize.
And I was more saying if there was any sort of like carryover, but I don't think for a preseason game that's not going to happen. Certainly not for a second yellow. If fans remember in 2013, this should have been an omen, I guess, for the season. I believe Dwayne DeRosario got suspended after headbutting a Philadelphia Union player during a preseason game.
Wow.
And
I don't recall that.
I think he was fined. Actually, I'm not sure. I know there was controversy because there wasn't actual video of the incident. No video existed of like.
Was that the Plex? Was this the thing that happened at the soccer Plex?
Maybe I'll have to go back and look, but I remember this very clearly. It was almost an omen for the season. It was like, I think he got suspended for 2 games, and MLS was like, if there had been video, it would have been more, basically, I think is what they implied. They said if we had actual video evidence, we would have suspended you for more. So, Yeah, strange things at preseason games. DC has a habit. I do think DC. One thing interesting about the game, and one last thought, I guess, is that DC was playing very aggressive, and I think New York was like, "What are you doing? This is a preseason game.
Who are you? What's happening?"
Like, well, let's save it for 2 weeks from now. Let's not do it now. So I think that was the interesting part of the game. So all the things to watch.
Yeah.
I think Rich Myers with the astute point. Plus, this is MLS. Most teams can't defend. You have to attack. That's very true. the money in rosters is not in the bottom of the barrel. Sorry, I interrupted you. You go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, particularly if we're gonna win games 5-4, we've got to score at least 2 goals.
Yes.
So we're gonna work on that.
All right, guys. We will have a show on Thursday. TBD on who we're going to be who we're going to have as far as a guest. Of course, then we got next Monday. Then we got the tailgate. Tailgate, everybody. rfgrefugees.com/tailgate. Sign up. Join us. I am skipping out on a Kickers watch party because of you all. So
think about that, guys. Look what Ted is sacrificing. You better make sure that you attend because Ted has given up a major piece of himself.
Yes, I haven't seen my friends in Richmond for a while. I get exclusive access to the Kickers Plus venue, but I said, you know what, I gotta see you all. So come up, join, have some fun. We're gonna drink some beer, enjoy ourselves. And I guess check our episode on Thursday. Patreon.com/RFUrefugees. Facebook. We're on Twitter.
You know where we're at.
You know where we're at.
Go to RFK. Go to rfkrefugees.com, and all the information that you could ever possibly want is there. A redesigned website thanks to producer Brian, who is off enjoying his happy anniversary.
Yes.
So hope that they have a great time. We tried to keep the trains moving. I don't know.
I think we did a great job.
It's on the track. We used to be able to do this, but we look forward to having him back next week. You
get out of season and then you join it. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. We will catch you guys on Thursday. Vamos.